All right, folks, we've seen a lot happen this evening, did we not? And I tried my best to stay on top of it so we could get as much information about what happened, why it happened, and what we can expect in the coming days and weeks. So, before we end today, because it's midnight where I am, thank you so much for hanging out with me in one way or another. So I wanted to definitely put that out there. A couple of things also, brownstoneworldwide.com, first thing in the morning um, and throughout your day. And we also are going to be starting some new things for you guys. Beginning next week, you will begin to see more content from Brownstone Living, our actual meta page. And we will be sharing a couple of shows and things with you all. Don't forget the Rivalry Report with myself and Heather Asanyanbi on Wednesdays. We will also be covering what has happened since this particular event that has just occurred today. Also, here's a couple of other things. Marshano Lanio will be joining us on Monday. We also have the Nicole Johnson with Money Mondays. We have Tuesdays, the beautiful ladies of the Real on Parenting, and we also have um, the Zim Ladies Round Table, that is a part of the People in the Neighborhood and their podcasts that join us through Cityscape Radio. Don't forget to get Brownstone Living magazine for your reading enjoyment. You can take it wherever you go. Pretty cool on that. So you can head over to brownstoneworldwide.com. It's available there. But then also, if you see me on social media, most definitely grab it there, because the link will be available for you to get your free digital copy as well. And check out the amazing couple, Darren and Karen Gale. So let's get into my commentary for this evening, which I think is super important. Again, these are my views, just my views. But let's call this moment exactly what it is: a hard, painful truth in time. And let me tell you why I say that. So, the Trump administration, backed by the GOP, the Senate, and Speaker Mike Johnson, played a ruthless hand. And we watched it play out in real time, and we didn't notice it until it happened. And I'm guilty as well. They took one of the most essential lifelines for millions of Americans, SNAP benefits, and used it as leverage. You can call it what you want, but I recognize that myself for the very first time today. With all of the arguing that we've been doing on social media back and forth, they've been quietly waiting. And they turned food into a bargaining chip. And in doing so, they held not just the Democrats, but the entire American people on either side hostage to get exactly what they wanted. So for weeks, we watched this play out like a political game of chicken, except this time the stakes were not party points or campaign sound bites. They were families, single mothers, veterans, seniors, and working people waiting to feed their children and themselves and the disabled, and wondering why their cards stopped working. The courts were used as weapons. Contingency funds that were created for this very purpose, to keep families fed in moments of crisis, were deliberately held back. Let's be clear. In all of the history of U.S. government shutdowns, SNAP payments have never once been cut off. Not during Clinton, not during Obama, not even during previous Republican administrations until now. This was not an accident, y'all. This was a strategy, one that struck directly at the most vulnerable among us. And while Democrats held the line for as long as they could, tonight, we watched them fold under the weight of impossible choices. Because when the opposing side is willing to let children go hungry just to win, the moral victory starts to feel hollow, even when you're right. But here's where we, the people in the neighborhood, it's time for us to open our eyes. This is the lesson. Your vote is your power. Your silence is strategy. And your voice is the only thing that changes the game. The GOP, I don't care what you say, played this masterfully. And we watched it play out in real time. They used hunger, fear, and desperation to force a deal that undermines both food security and health care for millions. And they did it and let us go online and talk about this was for the illegals. This is for them. They want us all to just not have to do anything but pay for them. It was never about that. It was about the subsidies to support making the Affordable Care Act continue to be affordable. And then we talked about folks who get up and go to work every single day and can't afford to feed themselves because they're too busy trying to keep a roof over their heads while they're working for billion-dollar corporations that continue to get tax write-offs and get subsidies from the very people that come to work, clock in every day, pay their taxes to the federal government, who in turn gives those taxes that you work so hard for at these companies that are giving you minimum wage, and if not minimum wage, a non-livable wage. They turn right back around and give it to them. And we justified it. I've seen the comments. I've seen the DMs and the messages from people who believe that if we just got a job, if we just worked harder, if we just got a second and a third job, then you could feed yourself, while rent and mortgages are skyrocketing and the cost of a car that is drivable and insurance for that car are skyrocketing and through the roof. And somehow, being poor, we should be humbled and ashamed, when in reality, we're not the ones who are at fault. But neighbors, the next move is ours. It's time to start asking those hard questions on both sides, for both the GOP and for the Democrats. Listen closely. Who really fights for you when the lights go off and paychecks stop? Who stands up for you when the food runs low and the bills pile up? Yeah, this isn't just about Washington politics. This is about survival, dignity, and the right to live without being someone's pawn in their power play. Pay attention. Get informed, get involved, to show up, vote like your life depends on it, because for millions of Americans tonight, it truly does. Listen, it's a lot more that I could say, but I was just being nice. For more news and information that you can use, come and hang out with me tomorrow on this new schedule for Brownstone Worldwide, Cityscape Radio, and Brownstone Living Magazine. I'm Paulette on the mic. Listen, enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm going to retire for the evening. We'll see you around.